Hello, hello, my loves, and welcome to EQ with Jah. So, today I want to talk about love, the actual emotion of love, not romantic, not familial, nothing that has to do with any attachment of anything that we have learned from the outside world, just a genuine, innate knowing of how much we've gone through something, how far we have come in our life thus far on our journeys, the self healing work it takes when you're by yourself and you have to understand that, yes, something happened that is out of your control. Days have passed, the moment's over, you're getting up, you're functional, you're living your life, you're doing the work, you're being a purposeful being, you're connected to your passions. We can be at our best or what we feel are at our worst times, but knowing how to know that love, this genuine, pure emotion of just taking away that moment of saying, I need to control this. That is to me, love is the exact moment that the mind knows when to stop trying to come up with the answer to a question that it's posed, and understanding that the body and the heart and the emotions, they're yearning to just be. That's when we break down and we cry and we allow ourselves to live in a moment of sorrow that's cathartic to our healing. There is always going to be a spectrum of going so far into your healing that you do get stuck in the trauma, and it's hard to come out of what we've gone through, and we push it back down further and it becomes something that seems so deep and so intangible to you that you are feeling like, who in the outside world could ever fix this? I can't fix this emotionally, so how can someone else? This is that deep understanding of knowing that no one else will ever be able to fix anything that you do not allow to let go of control of. Whatever healing work needs to take place, it happens when you allow love in. And I'm just going to give a brief description so I'm not always sounding like I'm talking in the clouds, but like me, myself personally, I'm just washing dishes, I'm watching a TV show, and they're talking about different topics and whatnot. And then I just kind of walk around and I'm just doing things in the house. Now, mind you, I'm not even paying attention to this TV show anymore, but whatever the subject was, it was deep enough that it made me feel like, oh wow, yeah, that's something that I've experienced. That was a really cool moment to see that someone else has actually put that out there in the world as art for me to see and have an option of emotion now versus it just being, I'm the only one who's experiencing it and I'm stuck. Now, back to what I was trying to give an example of is, I'm washing dishes and then I feel something in me just kind of feel like sad for a minute, but then I recognize through my own growth that I'm like, you were there before, but you've grown so much that now you know how to feel and react, and you know what it is, and you don't hold any responsibility for it, but you appreciate whatever it is that was holding me in a place of feeling that I was stuck. And I started to cry because in that moment, I felt that love, that universal love that is life, that thing that just says, no baby, you have more time, more work, more space to grow. And it just dug deep down in there, and I thought those roots were deep. I thought, when you get that feeling in your gut like this is never gonna go away, I just felt something go in and say, feel what you want to feel. We're not taking that away from you, but we're going to shower it and shroud it in love so that you can see it's okay to feel. It's okay to remember this moment, but it's not your whole entire existence. It's not who you are anymore, or it can be who you still are, and know that you still are still here and you're still loving yourself and you're still clear in your vision of who you are. These are all things that I got to really feel when I started to allow myself to let go of controlling my vulnerability. When I feel something happening, like it happens to everyone. I mean, it can happen again. I'm driving a car, I'm watching a TV show. Usually there's some type of emotionality evoked in what's happening, and then that's a trigger. Everyone can be triggered for good or for bad. They're not bad triggers, but sometimes you can recognize a sense of happiness that you haven't had in a while, and when it just gets triggered, you're like, oh wow, I haven't felt this good in so long. I haven't felt like this since I was a kid. That's usually the follow up, part of that sentence, because that's the moment when we felt something as a kid, when it sucked. We cried. We felt it. We let it go. We didn't try to hold on to it and make it something that it wasn't. We are like, I feel crappy. I really wanted that. And if we're lucky enough to have a healthy environment around us with our parents and the people who raised us, then they will say, yeah, it's okay for you to feel this, but understand that this is just the moment, and that's just frustration. And it's okay to be frustrated, but don't allow it to become a temperament. And then that becomes your reaction to everything that doesn't go your way. And then that's a behavior that's now who you are. And in your mind is convinced that's who you are. So then you're never allowing yourself to really trust your heart again, when your heart's like, we need to release this. We don't want it to become anger. We don't want it to fester and become something else that it's not meant to be for us. We need to understand how to serve. Every emotion that happens to us has a reason for why it's coming up. And it's really beautiful for me to really always see, like, I can break them down into any bracket of however we want to trace the pathology of every emotion. At the end of the day, love. There's no such thing as hate, only fear. And unless there's something else that someone else comes up with, thus far the spectrum is love and fear. When you fear, then you can come up with all different types of distorted scenarios to why you are what you do and how you did it and how and then the work becomes climbing back up out of that, or something going back in to say, hey, I can assist you. And for me, we've been taught to climb out of it. You can do it. Get down to the nitty gritty, bust your butt. But here's the point. If someone said it beautifully, the bootstrap theory is very insensitive. Everyone just should not have to pull themselves out of a situation. It's beautiful when you can pull yourself up out of nothing into something. Trust me, I've been homeless a few times, and I've made sure I've made ways to figure out how to get out of that situation. That is not something to brag about, but it's a moment in my life that I understood. No one should have to go through this many loopholes just to get back on their feet. No one. Luckily enough for me, I did have education, and I was able to speak, and I was able to figure out how to talk to people and get the things I needed, because emotionally I understood that beyond people seeing that this is something that should be accessible to all of us. We have these systems that have created not just the world we operate in, but the emotional world which we behave in. There's times when people are sitting around doing things and festering onto energies that happened years ago, and yet they're going to work every day, treating each new situation and each new person and each new moment with the same old energy and the same old scenario replaying in their head. And no one else can see this playing, but they do. And if they have any level of power, then they're going to assert this onto other people. And this is how you start to get a really messed up byproduct of low morale and people not trusting their environment and trusting who they are. So if you have this at work, and then you had this type of parenting, what type of energy are you by yourself alone? Even if you're the most functioning human being or most functioning adult, you still want to have your emotional moments of like, wow, I didn't know I had that still deep in me. Wow, I didn't know that I was able to see that I can feel without feeling some type of hindrance. It's okay to know that I'm feeling this because I need to feel it. Once it becomes something that's romanticized, and now it's just, I'm sad because, or I'm mad because, or I'm happy because, these are still expectations of something else's power or scenario over you for you to be happy with yourself. And if you're treating yourself constantly that way on the outside, then your inward world is going to believe that is it's normal, and that's what it has to feed off of. Remember, whatever you feed yourself is what's going to become the byproduct and the nutrients of how you survive. And if all you're feeding yourself off of are negative emotions about having emotions, which never go away, guess what? That's where that clash of the titans comes in, where the ego feels like it's constantly listening to two sides of its shadow self, the light and the dark side, which is our masculine and feminine. Remember, we are the middle part of that. We are the ego, the framework, the vessel, the organism that has a living entity, soul, spirit inside of us that is functioning through both halves of our masculine part of our brain and our feminine part of our brain, which is the creative and the logic. And these two things together create logical scenarios and create imaginary scenarios. And they can intertwine and cross reference each other anytime they want. And that's how some people can take logical explanations and apply it to something that's imaginative only in their world. And if it doesn't apply to them, then it doesn't make sense outside of their reality. This is why it's so key and important to just knowing that love is always going to be the balance and counterpart to everything, because love has no stipulations. Real love, again, I'm not talking about romantic or anything family that we've been taught. Real love knows that it shouldn't have to be this hard. And all I have to do is exist. All I have to do is take care of. All I have to do is pay honor to. All I have to do is trust the process. All I have to do is know that God loves me and I am here for a journey and a reason and a purpose. And they all correlate to something bigger that again gives back to society, the collective conscious, and then we as a whole. Because once I heal something inside of me, guess what? Now, when I encounter someone in the world who's going through the same thing, I can give them an option of emotion, just like whatever I watched gave me an option of emotion to express myself. This is why it's important to really have genuine content that matters to people and shows us how we're supposed to feel as human beings. It's okay to watch things that if you want for excitement and you like sensationalizing all that, that's great. But the reality of our existence is we are emotional beings and we need to really pay attention to why we do what we do and understand that it's all connected to how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about our power and how we feel about our healing. When we allow ourselves to really heal and feel that moment that love comes in and just scoops it out, that's when you get to have gratitude and say, wow, thank you. Thank you. This is why I am here to remember as a soul, because this body is a tool to let me feel everything that I could never feel just being a soul alone. That's why it's so important to take care of your body and your mind and your emotions and your health and all of them, because it's how you fine tune your antenna, it's how you fine tune your instrument. Then you're able to understand, I'm feeling this because it needs to be expressed. And then someone else, maybe, or whoever is watching this, they'll hear these words and maybe a snippet out of whatever I rambled about for the last 13 some minutes. Maybe something will land on their heart and resonate and say, wow, that just helped me open a doorway to something. That just helped me heal something. That just helped me remember something I didn't want to remember. But there are all opportunities to allow yourself to heal and feel and know that what real love is having the opportunity to just let go and be one with yourself. Be okay with being okay, be okay with not being okay, but knowing none of that changes who you are. It only elevates and expands your consciousness to saying, I'm worthy of myself, I'm worthy of my healing, I'm worthy of my journey, and everything that comes to me is meant for me. And this is why we're here as, again, a collective to give back to each other. So whatever works for you, do it. Let it happen. Thank the universe, thank your body, thank your mind, thank your throat chakras, the things that allow you to hear my voice and for me to hear sound and coming back. And all of these things matter because, again, these are our tools as emotional beings to give back to the universe, which is a spirit being who wants to remember what we're supposed to do as humanity. So, as always, guys, let love in. Let love show you what you need to see. So then you understand when you meet someone or you have something, you understand how to appreciate it, cultivate it, and let it grow. All right. I love you guys. As always, check me out on epicinity.org, Blankcanvas.club. That's another one for a platform all for EQ, music, playlist, all that, and my social media platforms. I love you guys. Mwah.